Hey, how you doing today? Today we're going to go over a little bit about tree selection, planting of the tree, and specifically the aspects around the details that we need to know about soil and about what's going to happen in the future. So the first thing we have to look at is why do I need the tree and why do I need it in that spot? So in my condition or my area right here, I look at an open area. It's going to be full sun, and we are going to be looking at planting a tree that's going to create us some partial shade conditions. Now, I do not want to put in a full tree that is going to block out the sun, because I still want the grass to be nice and green and full. And then on top of that, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to, once I plant it, it's established, then I'm going to go into an area where I don't have to worry about the leaves, I don't have to worry about any other specifics. It's just basically going to grow and I'm going to enjoy it. Now, one of the factors we have to look at is we have to look at the factor of how big is it going to grow, how fast is it going to grow, and then what kind of shade umbrella we're going to end up getting. And in this case here, I have chosen a locust tree because a locust is very open limbed, and it will allow that diffusion of sun to come down to the grass and then be able to give us that partial shade that we're looking for. Okay, now when I go to plant the tree, I have to make sure that this particular tree is good in our zone. And this is zone 5, and the locust is between 4 and 9. So we're good to go as far as that goes. Now, the other things that I have to look at is it a full sun area? Absolutely. Is a locust a full sun? Yes, it is. Then I look at wind conditions. If I plant the tree, am I going to have to stake it or not stake it due to the actual wind conditions? And in this area around here, we have an umbrella of trees all the way around. The wind is not going to be an issue. It's not going to be able to dry the leaves out. It's not going to be able to dry the earth out. And it's not going to want to push the tree over. Now, so that covers all those factors. Now, the other thing that I really like about the locust is the fact that the pruning, we really don't have to worry about it that much. We can just let it go, or we can actually go in and do it later if we choose. But because it's an open branch system, it's very easy just to let it go. Now, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at a tree. I'm going to say it's about 8 or 9 feet tall. We're going to plant it in the ground here. And before I plant it, I have to make sure that I know the soil conditions. So when I look at the soil, and I've already pre-dug the hole, you can see I've gone down, and then I have quite a bit of red soil and clay, which means it's going to be very compact. Now, the locust itself requires an enriched soil. So I'm going to add, I've broken up the soil, and I'm going to be adding some compost just to compensate for the soil itself, to richen it up a little bit. And that'll give it a boost when it starts to grow. So as far as that goes, we're going to move into the actual planting component. Okay, so the planting component is we are going to be looking at the actual tree. It is in one heck of a big pot. Now, the depth of the hole that I have to deal with is basically from the very bottom of the pot to the top of the earth. So when I do a basic common sense measurement, I'm going to be looking at that is the top of the pole, and I use the actual shovel handle to do that. Now, when I place it in the bottom of the hole, you will see that I'm lower than what I need. Now, I did that on purpose, and the reason is so that I could get drainage to the bottom of the tree. As well, I could build it back up again so that when I backfill, I'm not going to be over the nub of the tree. And that will allow it to be situated correctly. Now, I've already put down, like I said, a little bit of compost. in the bottom, and I'm just going to top it up just a wee bit so I can get the right height. I'm only going to do it in the center, and I'm only going to do it so the actual root ball here sits square. The rest of it is going to be nice and loose. It is going to be able so that when I backfill it, it's going to be nice and level. That will also give me the drainage that I need. Okay, one of the other things you might run across is if you take a look at this hole right down here, you're going to see there's a big tree root in there. Now it is an excessive size, so it is well over 1 inch thick, so I did not cut it out. I left it and I dug around it. That will allow another tree to continue to grow. It's not going to affect my planting this time. Now, next step we do is we are going to remove the tree from the pot, and we're going to make note of the roots around the tree. Now, this has been in a pot for a long time. You can see how the roots are growing around the tree, around the edge of the pot area. And I'll bring it back this way so you can see quite clearly. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to prune. And how I'm going to prune that is with a simple X-Acto knife. And all I'm going to do by doing that is breaking up the roots so that they will actually begin to grow a little better when we start or plant, and they will be accessible to making better contact in the dirt. This does not harm the tree at all. It actually accelerates its growth. And don't forget, you have to do the bottom as well. And you can do that in like a cross-hatch pattern. Now once we're done, we're going to place a tree. And before we backfill, we're going to make our measurement to make sure that we have the right height. Now the height that we're looking for is equal to or slightly above the ground surface. And here we're just slightly above, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. The only thing I'm going to make an adjustment with is which side of the tree do I want facing the predominant sun when it comes up in the morning. That will be definitely a bonus for how this tree roots and begins to grow. Now, we've got the tree planted. We are now going to backfill. So I'm just going to take a rake. I've mounted some dirt. And we are just going to backfill a little bit around the base of the root ball. Now you see that I'm not actually packing it in. What I'm going to be doing instead is I'm going to be using the hose and water to help us pack that in. That will prevent any open areas or spots where oxygen can sit, and it'll pack it in nice for the roots. I'm just watering it in a little bit here, which is going to pack it down. Once I've got the water in there, now we're going to start dropping the rest of the soil around the root ball, and we're going to build it up, and we're going to create a little bit of a berm. Now the berm is there so when the water or the rain comes down, it's going to concentrate the water towards the root ball for water that goes directly to the roots, so it'll get established way quicker. Sometimes if you get a lot of big chunks, you have to break them up so that they'll pack in there a little nicer. Get rid of any of the air pockets so the root ball will be established quicker. I will tell you, I couldn't have picked a worse day to do this. We have what's called a humid X factor in the range of 40 degrees, which is absolutely insane. Very, very hot today. This is not the best time to plant a tree. It's better to do it in the spring or the late fall. But for us, we need rises and we need to do this. Now, I'm just going to finish it off, and then we're going to berm it up. Now I'm just going to pull the dirt back to berm it up so that we have about 6 inches from the main trunk, so that we do not block out the root ball from the condition that it has grown up in the pot. And this will allow it to breathe better. Okay, so we have it bermed up nice. And now we're ready for the next step. The next step is to mulch it.